Hey everybody, it is Mr. George, and tonight is Tuesday, May 12th, and let's just review what we're going to do tonight. So we're going to review some grammar examples. Okay, specifically we're going to look at do, does, and did, also using would and should. We're also going to look at and review the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance, which is said in every public school every single day. And then we're going to complete some math word problems. So tonight we do not have a big story tonight, and you do not have a writing assignment tonight to do. Okay. So again, during class time, I will be available if you have any questions, either through Google Voice or you could just email me directly. That's probably the best way. And I will have a couple of videos tonight. I'm not going to be able to put all this on one video. And like in the last couple of weeks, once you finish these assignments, please email me that you completed it. And again, there's nothing that you need to pass in, nothing that you need to show me. Do not need to do any Google Docs. I also included at the end here all of the optional online resources that are free for you. Each resource has my YouTube video explaining how to use the free resource, as well as providing an example. And then there's a link to the actual resource. So the vocabulary.com, we have the virtual field trips, a museum somewhere around the world, and then we have the math and geography website with aaamath.com. And then we have the section on pictures, the photo section that has pictures with words that correspond to each of the pictures. All right. So let's start. And for each of the assignments here, you'll see the page numbers are in your student book. I'll also have PDF file for these available for class. But if you do have your student workbook, the grammar is on pages 45 and 46. Pledge of Allegiance is on page 66. I'm going to do a review of pages 181 to 182, and I'll do that right before we do the 3 math word problems, 3 pages on 172, 173, and 175. And I also will provide the answers to the math problems after you've tried to complete them. Okay, so you'll be able to see and compare how you did after you do the math problems tonight. Great. So let's start with do, does, and did. Okay. So I'm going to read some of the book here, and I'm also going to just talk about this. So use do, does, and did to talk about actions. So we're talking about actions, things that are getting done. So did is the simple past tense of do and does. So if I did something yesterday, okay, I might do something today. So here's some examples. He does such interesting work. So he does, she does, dad does, mom does, you did, they do, they did. So here, if we look at the table here that has first person, second person, third person with singular and plural, we see I do, you do, he does, she does, it does. And now with plural, we do, you do, they do. And now for the verb did. So first person, so this is past tense. I did, you did, he did, she did, it did. We did, you, plural, did, they did. So that's easy. It's just did for all of them. Okay? Here are a couple contractions that are connected with Do not is the same as don't. Does not is the same as doesn't. Did not is the same as didn't. Okay. So let's move here. And you can review this if you wanted to pause this and just kind of read this on your own here. You could read these questions. These are just all examples showing different ways of using did or do or does or didn't. Okay? So let's look at the exercise here, which is exercise 13. So fill in the blanks with do, does, or did. So why don't you take a minute and answer these 5 questions. So you can pause it. I'll pause for about a few seconds here. So if you want to pause this video, and then once you play it, I'll provide the answers to you. So we have Jack blank not do well on the exam last week. So we know that's past tense. So Jack did not. And you could also say didn't do well. Okay? So Jack did not. Where blank eggs come from? So where do eggs come from? Okay, because eggs is plural. We say where do eggs come from? What does this word mean? Asking the question, what does this word mean? So for number 4, we could say, does he drink coffee? We could say that. If we're talking about something in the present, does he drink coffee? We could also use the word did he drink coffee, asking the question from the past. Did he drink something, say, this morning? Did he drink coffee? Number 5, where did you buy that luggage? So you already bought the luggage. So the question would be, where did you buy that luggage? Great. So that's the first part tonight. And now we're going to look at would and should. So the term would is another helping, and we call that an auxiliary verb. Use would as the past tense of will. Okay, so will is present, would is the past tense of will. It's polite to use would, like when you are offering people things or asking for something yourself. Examples: Peter said he would come. John and Sue said they would meet at the airport. Would you like a cup of coffee? Would you like a chocolate? Yes, please. I would love one. Okay. Should is a helping or auxiliary verb. Use should to talk about necessary actions or things that people ought to do. So when we say someone ought to do it, it's a good idea to do it. Examples: children should not play in traffic. Again, they ought to not play in traffic. It's a good idea that they not play in traffic. You should always say thank you. That makes sense. Something that you should do. It's a nice thing to do. I should drink more water. Okay. So here are some contractions here using would or should. So I would is the same as I'd. So you could say the same thing. You could say I'd, or you could say I would. You would is the same as you'd. He would is the same as he'd. She would is the same as she'd. We would is the same as we'd. They would is the same as they'd. Should not is the same as shouldn't. and would not is the same as wouldn't. Remember, when we have these contractions, we have an apostrophe. That's that little symbol that's taking the place of at least one letter. And for many contractions, it's taking the place of several different letters. So let's look at here. For exercise 14, we have 5 questions. Fill in the blanks with would or should. So take a couple minutes and see if you can do this on your own and answer these 5 questions. So you can pause it now, and then after you hit play, I will provide the answers to those 5 questions in exercise 14. So why don't you pause it now? Great, so let's start with the first one. Every student should have a calculator. Every student should have a calculator. So number 2, it's a question. So we want to say, would you like some coffee? Would you like some coffee? Number 3, we should all exercise 30 minutes per day. Remember, we're using should. We should exercise. It's something that's a good idea. It's something that we ought to do. We should exercise. Number 4, it's a question. Would you like to play a game with me? Would you like to play a game with me? And the last one. Children should not watch too much television. Children should not watch too much television. Now you could take the should and the not, combine them in a contraction, and we would get shouldn't. Children shouldn't watch too much television. Great. So I hope that makes it easier to understand when you would use would and should, and when you would use either do, does, and did. So if you want to jump over to the next video tonight, that will take you into our next lesson. Thanks for watching.